Hello everyone, and welcome to my CSU channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Julie Chrisley terrified of reintegrating after prison? Julie Chrisley was serving her 7-year prison sentence when the 11th Circuit of the Appeals Court heard her and her husband Todd's oral arguments. The outcome will change life for Julie. But is she terrified of reintegrating into a normal life if she goes home sooner than she expected? Read on to find out what Savannah Chrisley said about it. Julie Chrisley's case was vacated by the judge. While life won't change for Todd Chrisley in the immediate future, his lawyers will still fight on, but there is hope that with the court vacating Julie's sentence, she could be home soon. Essentially, the case against the former Chrisley knows best star lacked sufficient evidence for the sentence. So, she will be resentenced. Julie Chrisley lived in a Kentucky prison for 18 months, and Savannah Chrisley said that conditions were terrible. In fact, she even talked about strip searches and poisonous snakes. Plenty of critics do not believe that the mom of 4 should complain because they still believe that the former reality TV star deserved to be jailed. But she might likely be home soon. On her Unlocked podcast, Savannah hoped she might be home for Thanksgiving. During her podcast on July 2nd, Savannah Chrisley spoke a lot about her mom. According to her, Julie might not cope well with reintegrating into the normal life of her old family. Mentioning fears that her mom might have PTSD was just one aspect of future difficulty. Julie Chrisley, Savannah explained, spoke with her and she seemed terrified. Elaborating, the Chrisley knows best alum said. Aside from that, she talked about being institutionalized. Her parents become so institutionalized, she added. So, she hated hearing her mother refer to herself as an inmate. After talking about the appeal finding, Savannah said that her mom will need therapy. That's because she seemed terrified that her daughter might go back to living by herself. What are your thoughts about the possibility that Julie Chrisley might be terrified of life if she gets sent home early from prison? Do you agree that she already sounds afraid of coping once she leaves the institutional environment? The Georgia humidity hit Julie Chrisley the moment she stepped outside the gates of FMC Lexington. It wrapped around her like a heavy blanket, too warm, too real, too different from the sterile chill of the prison she had called home for far too long. She paused, clutching her small mesh bag of belongings, and tried to breathe. Freedom was supposed to feel like sunlight breaking through clouds, but instead it felt like standing on a cliff's edge with the world spinning beneath her feet. A black SUV waited at the curb. Behind the wheel, Savannah pressed her forehead to the glass, eyes glistening. The second she spotted her mother, she bolted out and ran, nearly tripping over her own shoes. Julie braced herself as Savannah threw her arms around her. "Mom," Savannah whispered, voice breaking. "You're home. You're finally home." Julie forced a smile, stroking her daughter's hair. "I'm here, sweetheart. I'm home." But inside, she wasn't sure. Being home felt like a question she wasn't ready to answer. The world wasn't the same, and neither was she. The ride back to Nashville was quiet at first. Savannah talked gently, explaining everything she had handled: Grayson's school schedule, Chloe's activities, the podcast, the appeals, the house repairs. She had practically held the entire Chrisley universe together while fighting to get both parents home. Julie stared out the window, watching cars blur past. Every horn sounded too loud. Every vibration of the road made her shoulders jump. She kept touching her thumbs together, a nervous habit she'd picked up inside. "You okay?" Savannah asked softly. "I just don't feel like myself," Julie admitted. "Everything is too fast, too bright, too much." She didn't tell Savannah the rest: the nightmares, the panic attacks, the memories she couldn't shake, or the darker fear that settled heavy in her chest. What if home didn't feel like home anymore? What if she didn't know how to be Julie Chrisley outside those walls? The house felt like a museum. When they arrived at the Chrisley home, everything looked familiar but somehow wrong, like a stage set of her old life. Her favorite candle was in the entryway, the cream-colored throw blanket draped over the sofa, the framed photos lining the walls, but She felt like a visitor walking through someone else's memories. Chloe tiptoed down the stairs, nervous but smiling. "Grandma?" Julie's lips trembled. "Come here, baby." The little girl ran into her arms, and for a moment, the tension eased. Chloe smelled like strawberries and sunshine, normal life, innocent life, and Julie clung to it. But when Grayson walked in, taller than she remembered, voice deeper, shoulders broader, Julie felt a sharp pang. She had missed too much. "Hey, Mom," he said, trying to be strong. Julie reached for his hand. "My sweet boy, I'm so sorry." Grayson shook his head.
No.
"You're here. That's all that matters now." But his smile didn't quite reach his eyes, and Julie knew the truth. He had grown up without her, and she had no idea how to step back into the space she once filled. Freedom didn't feel free. That night, Julie lay awake in her own bed, staring at the ceiling. She had dreamed of this moment for months. But the sheets felt too soft. The silence felt too loud. And every time she closed her eyes, she saw concrete floors, metal doors, and the faces of the women she had survived alongside. She kept expecting the lights to flick on, for someone to yell, "Count time," for the clang of keys to echo down the hallway. She sat up abruptly, her breath shallow. Why can't I just be normal? Why can't I snap out of this? Everyone expects me to be okay now. Savannah needs me. The kids need me. Todd. The thought of Todd cut like a knife. She hadn't even allowed herself to think about him yet, not fully. His absence from this home, from this freedom, was a hole she couldn't fill. She wanted to call him, to tell him she was scared, to hear him tell her she was strong. But she couldn't. He was still inside, and she was alone with her thoughts. The fear of judgment. The next morning, Savannah insisted they go to the grocery store. "Just for a few things," she said. "It'll be good for you." Julie reluctantly agreed, thinking it would be a simple trip. But the moment they entered the store, she felt eyes on her. Whether anyone actually recognized her or not didn't matter. She felt exposed. One woman did a double take. Another whispered to her husband. A teenage boy pulled out his phone. Julie froze. Savannah squeezed her mother's arm. "Ignore them," she murmured. "People are always going to watch. Doesn't mean they get to control you." But Julie's hands shook as she picked up a carton of eggs. It felt silly, just a grocery store. Normal life. But she felt as though she were walking through fire. Do they know? Do they judge me? Are they wondering if I learned my lesson? Are they waiting for me to fail? The pressure became unbearable. Julie left the cart in the aisle and rushed outside.